This video is going to be part 3 of my Rolling Stone CD collection. This is going to cover the period 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Going to start with 1971 Sticky Fingers. And this was the original CD release. This was the remastered release, which I believe came out in the late 90s. And then finally, this is the deluxe Sticky Fingers, which is a 2-disc set, and it has a bonus disc with some outtakes and alternate versions of the songs from this album. Next album, this is Exile on Main Street, the original release. And then this is the deluxe edition. And then the remastered version from the 1990s. All of these are just, well, actually the deluxe edition was a 2-disc set, which had some extra tracks and some, I believe Mick Jagger re-recorded the vocals on some of the tracks which were laid down during the recording sessions but didn't actually have vocals on them. But this remastered set is just one CD. This is Goat's Head Soup. And this is what these CDs look like on the inside. And then this was the remastered Goat's Head Soup CD. This is the remastered from the late 90s, It's Only Rock and Roll. This is Black and Blue, the remastered version. This is a compilation, Sucking in the 70s, the first compilation to cover the 1970s period, at least the early 70s. And then Love You Live, the Rolling Stones' third live album. This is a 2-disc set. This is the original CD release for Some Girls. And the 90s remaster. And then the 2-disc deluxe edition. Emotional Rescue, this is the remastered version. And then Tattoo You, which I think was the first Rolling Stones album that I ever owned. Although my dad had the 60s, some of the 60s Rolling Stones album. This was the first one that I ever personally owned. I had this one on cassette first. So that was the original CD release. This is the CD remaster. And then I've got this, which is a collector's edition with the original album packaging. It's got the original inner sleeve. And the Sticky Fingers edition of this had an actual working zipper on it. I don't have that one, but that would be a cool one to own if you can find it. This was their 4th live album, Still Life. This is the original CD release, not the remastered. And Undercover. This is the remastered version. And this is another Rolling Stones compilation, the first one of the 80s. And this was called Rewind 1971 to 1984. So it covers everything up to that point, from Sticky Fingers through Undercover. There was a second compilation in the 70s called Made in the Shade. I do not have that one on CD, but that covered the late period 70s Stones catalog. This is, of course, Dirty Work, remastered version. Steel Wheels. This was the original release. Would this be the 5th Rolling Stones live album, Flashpoint? This does have 2 new songs on here, High Wire and Sex Drive. And yet another greatest hits compilation, the best of the Rolling Stones, Jump Back. And this also has material from Sticky Fingers through the most recent Steel Wheels. This is the Voodoo Lounge album. Stripped, which was the Stones unplugged album, as it were, even though it's not entirely unplugged, but has their only cover available on CD, at least, of Like a Rolling Stone, and has some other really good covers of their own earlier material. So this Bridges to Babylon with the slipcase. This was Rarities that came out in the mid-2000s, and it's got some live stuff, it's got some B-sides, I think a lot of B-sides, some mixes of some of the Stones tracks from the, I guess you'd call it, later point of their career, from Sticky Fingers through the early 2000s. This opens up, it's like a digipack, and then there's a booklet inside here. This was a Bigger Bang. And another live album. This one is No Security. And this one has You Got Me Rocking, Give Me Shelter, Flip the Switch, Memory Motel, Karina, Saint of Me, Waiting on a Friend, Sister Morphine, Live With Me, Respectable, Thief in the Night, The Last Time, and Out of Control, if you were wondering. this time a 2-disc compilation, the first one since the Hot Rocks Greatest Hits compilation. And these are not in any chronological order, but it is a career retrospective up to this point. And there are I believe four new tracks on here also, kind of scattered throughout here. Stealing My Heart, Losing My Touch, and Keys to Your Love, and I'm not sure the other one, but another live album, this one, Live Licks, which is also a 2-disc set. This one has a live version of Monkey Man, which is pretty cool. Another 2-disc Greatest Hits career retrospective. And this one has, I think, 3 new songs. Doom and Gloom, I believe, was released as a single. And then the soundtrack to Martin Scorsese's film Shine a Light. This is the single disc version, although there is a 2-disc release, which Shine a Light is in red lettering. Blue and Lonesome, their most recent studio album, which is a cover of some of their favorite blues songs. And then last but not least is the most recent career retrospective for the Stones. This is a 3-disc set. The first 2 discs are just strictly the hits, and then but there's nothing any earlier than Sticky Fingers, so there's nothing from the 60s on here. And then disc 3 has some live tracks, which are some 60s songs. There's live versions of Get Off My Cloud, She's a Rainbow, Let's Spend the Night Together, and Under My Thumb. And that is my Rolling Stone CD collection. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them below. Thanks for watching, and stay safe and healthy.